what do you think would be more value at the time? The number 2 pick right away, like as soon as the ping pong balls hit and the Pistons come with the number 2 pick, do you think they start looking for a trade, or do you think they let Scoot Henderson play for a season and see if they can make this 3-guard lineup work? What do you think would happen? What do you think is the most likely scenario?
I'm fine with that, especially with whoever we hire as a new coach, which we'll get into. I'm fine experimenting and seeing what our identity is, because we don't know that yet as this team.
Yeah.
Are we a 3-guard lineup? Are we somebody who can run Wiseman and Duren and essentially 3 guards? Are we a team that can run 3 big men in 2 guards? Like, what is this team? And that comes down to what we want to scheme and how we see the future.
Yeah, I just look at it as your 17-win team. I don't think you can draft for fit when you have 17 wins. Now, if we had 45 wins, that's a completely different conversation, in my opinion. But I do think it's going to be a real conversation in the front office over Brandon Miller and Scoot Henderson, because I think I've told you, Lance, they're 1A and 1B to me.
Yeah.
Even though Brandon Miller had a horrific March Madness, he had a groin injury, and he wasn't 100% healthy. But we saw what he could do all season, one of the best small forwards in the draft class. I talked with Corey last week because we talked about the same exact topic. Corey said he would go for Brandon Miller at 2 over Scoot. So, like I said, there's going to be a lot of people having the same kind of conversation probably for the next month until we know where we're actually drafting. But getting back to the topic, I think you look at Jaden Ivey and you kind of look at Scoot Henderson. You kind of have to ask yourself, does Jaden Ivey have more of a ceiling than Scoot Henderson does? I think that's what the front office is probably going to have to ask themselves is, will Jaden Ivey be a better player than Scoot Henderson in the long term?
Yeah, that's tough to say, though. I mean, I've said this before. I don't see Scoot Henderson as a generational talent. Like, I don't know what makes him a generational talent. I see it in Victor Wembanyama because he's fucking huge and he can play like a small forward. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't see stuff like that all the time, but we've seen athletic 6'2", 6'3" guards like Derrick Rose, Baron Davis, Steve Francis. The list goes on. So I don't know why people keep calling Scoot Henderson a generational talent. And I know he's great. I mean, dude, that one, I forget what game it was, but just his first step is unbelievable. But I don't think the gap between him and Brandon Miller is all that large. And plus, Brandon Miller's 6'8", 6'9", and he can play the 3, 2, or 4, depending on what you want to do. And like we said before, he kind of reminds us of Paul George. That's a pretty good player to play alongside Jaden Ivey and Cade Cunningham and Jalen Duren. So I'm going to stick to my guns, and I'm just going to say Brandon Miller. I'll take him over Scoot.